today's meeting. So thanks everyone. Happy to see all of you and welcome back to today's session. And this is the last meeting in 2021 organized by VODAN Africa, and my name is Putu. So our highlight today, as just like I post in the group, there are 3 highlights. The first one is about first pilot of completion of VODAN Africa, and the second agenda or second highlight is about successful local deployments in Uganda, in Nigeria, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, and Leiden. And the last one is about a demonstration by VODAN Africa with Professor Francisca and Professor Miriam van Reysen as our leader in VODAN Africa. So I think I will give you the floor, Professor Miriam, to start today's meeting. So I will hand over to you. The floor is yours, Prof. Miriam.
Thank you, Putu. Very exciting. Francesca will lead this meeting, but for the opening, I would first like to give the floor to VC and then hand over to Francesca, and she will then also give Barend a few minutes to speak. So first, VC.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Such a lovely day from our party in Uganda. And actually, big congratulations to all of us. I'm so delighted to see everybody who is attending in your respective capacity. I've seen Baron Mons, I've seen Bat, I've seen quite a number of people are taken along without seeing Eric and others. Most welcome. So I take this opportunity really to highlight a few of the incredible successes. Of course, you've demonstrated across places, across disciplines, across nations, teamwork, incredible teamwork. In addition, the capacity that has been built around the whole principle, and also the approval of the NOFIC course, Fair Data Science, on the KIU DISH platform, which is a huge African regional project with Dutch partners, and also the amazing discovery that we can actually bridge machine learning while keeping data in place where it is produced. I remember in 2019 when we were in the Netherlands, and Baron was really trying hard to demonstrate to us the that train. You know, I can't forget that train demo, which was showing, actually trying to explain the whole concept, and it looked to be so abstract. You know, the blocks were built, and now here we are with this amazing achievement. So I'm so happy as the chair of the implementation network. I want to thank so much Professor Francisca, Professor Miriam, and the teams. You are so many, including Rudwan, you know, for making CEDA and tooling around the world. We are so proud. And I want to say that this is historic, and today we end the year in style. Congratulations to everybody and welcome. And I'm really so delighted to see each one of you, Han, Baron, Putu, and the whole team. Whoever is on this network, be aware that I do recognize you, and I want to thank you for each one of you put a brick on this big VODAN wall, that the wall that doesn't prevent communication, but that is porous and allows multiple directional flow of things, but respecting the most important principle, respecting the owners, the home of data, but making good use of it for the good of humanity. I'm sure we will achieve more. Thank you so much, and most welcome.
Thank you so much, VC. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for really taking such good care of VODAN Africa within the home of KIU. And it is really that home of KIU that has allowed us to really properly root all of this properly within the heart of Africa, and bridging out to our friends in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Zimbabwe, in Nigeria, in Liberia, these days also in Burkina Faso and Ethiopia and Sudan, Somalia, Jamal is here, Zimbabwe, did I say that? So we can now also say Zambia. Aliyah is working with Zambia at the moment. So we couldn't have thought when we started as a very small project 3 years ago, when Mariam had her desk across beds hosted by Barent. We were thinking of these things in very theoretical ways. And there are many people to thank before I can hand over to Francesca. First of all, Beto has been here week after week after week after week to witness what we are doing, to really bring all of the efforts of Go Fair together, and to make sure that we, as much as we are specific from Africa and Asia, that we are properly bridged to the whole global effort. And a big thank you to you, Bet, for that incredible support that you have given us. We have a lot of people here to acknowledge. John is here. John, again, week after week after week, patiently taking all our questions. We have learned so much in this year. And I'm so proud to announce that today, the presidency, VC, you were part of it, of the NUFIC program this morning, approved the online capacity course, which has been developed by Professor Francesca with Aliyah on fair data science, and which uses the CEDAR platform as the basis for doing that. And this is really a huge step forward to make sure that the data stewardship is going to be a skill that meets the dreams of Barent. I remember Barent 6 years ago, and he was saying, you know, Miriam, you know, if we get Africa on board, then we can have these capacities that we need to realize this thing. The African capacities, that for me was not a problem. For me, the problem was this thing. But I think we have figured out this thing. And today we are here to see the work of Professor Francesca with her fantastic team. Things have been prepared by a number of technical teams. I want to recognize one technical team, which is the team International Outreach. Han is here. He chairs that team. It's very good to see you, Han, and thank you, always working behind the scenes, but very, very grateful for the work that you are doing behind those scenes. Putu has been leading the team of preparation of the 84 health facilities, with all of the coordinators in all of the countries. Then we have had the team of Aliyah, which has worked closely with John to really put in place the capacity on creating the machine readable vocabulary and terms. She has been closely working with Mariam, and Mariam has been working together with the team that has been working on the localization of all of this. And what we are demonstrating today is an installation where the data is reposited within the facility where it is produced. And the team of OSHAS has been doing some of that technical installation work. And then the detail of the integration of the back end and the front end has been the responsibility of Olowole and Ezra, who have really been working under the leadership of Professor Francesca their socks off. What time were you WhatsApping me yesterday, Professor Francesca? I was at 1 o'clock at night, 1:30. These people have been going day and night, and it is only thanks to them that we are able to have this meeting today, where we can really show the whole thing coming together. From Leiden, we have had great support, both in LIAX with Mariam and Fons and Katie working closely together, and in LUMC with Eric Flickenschild and Rudwan. And Rudwan was really helped a huge push on the backend installation. So I also would like to thank the country coordinators, because the work that we have achieved here is possible because it acknowledges that in each of our geographies we have different realities, different technical realities, different political realities, and that needs to be acknowledged. And the bridge to that has really been the country processes. I would like to give a huge thanks also to Dr. Reginald, who has been coordinating the country coordinators team, and all of the country coordinators for the incredible responsibility that they've taken, and really making sure that this is embedded within the ministries, within the regional bureaus, within the universities, within all of the stakeholders, and of course the health facilities. Big thank you to you as well. With that, I think I will hand over to you, Professor Francesca. Again, it's your knowledge, your team, the trust that you have given to everybody, that this, as much as sometimes it seemed to be a far away dream, that this could be realized. And today, I think we are celebrating that, that we have achieved this. Thank you so much as Executive Director for leading this. We are so proud to have you, and I know I'm speaking on behalf of everybody. Please, thank you, accept our thanks, and I hand over to you to lead this meeting.
Yes. Thank you very much, Prof. It's such a beautiful opening speech from you. We are grateful for your leadership, and we're inspired by everything that you have helped us to achieve. We have leveraged on your network so much. I mean, we are looking for experts in any country, and Professor Miriam says, oh, okay, I think I can send an email. And before you know it, we found not one, not two, not three people ready to join the network and provide the services. Before we go into the demonstrations and the launching, I would like to invite the E in experts. As the E, somebody described Baron as the E in the expert in fair data management. He has promised to say one or two words to spend some minutes with us, and he has do that promise. We'd like to hear from you, Professor Baron.
Thank you so much, Francisca, and let me add my congratulations. I really wanted to speak a little bit here, very short, because I'm actually stepping out of another meeting. And first, I apologize. I've not been in as many meetings as Bert and others, but I watched several videos, and I'm extremely proud of what happened. When we started VODAN in general in GoFair, I think VODAN Africa really took a big stride forward. And then we had the TWOC project that is more focused on technology. And what has happened has been amazing to follow. And I would also like to look to the future, because what we see happening is that there are now major international initiatives. One of them is being OSCAR, which is the Open Science Cloud Executive Roundtable, where the executives of regional open science clouds are coming together. The African Open Science Cloud has just appointed their director, Chamo. I'll come back to that in another time, not now. And he will represent Africa, the region of Africa in this group. And we mentioned VODAN Africa immediately as the prime example of how things should develop. And that was really, really to be proud of. And even further, there is now an initiative via the International Science Council that I'm also part of, to start something with major funders behind it called mission-driven science to address the sustainable development goals. And I mentioned the same sort of approach that we have just heard about, and they will definitely follow the same approach: distributed learning over data that don't leave the region, with the sensitive data. And you made the prime example of it. As the VC said, you turned the movie that we showed when they were in Leiden into reality, and I'm very proud, and I'm promoting it everywhere. I have to leave now, but I will watch the video of this one as well, and hope to be there more frequently next year. So I wish you a great holiday season and a great future for next year and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor.
I wish you a
Wise.
great
It's
meeting,
been an
and
honor.
you can be proud of
Thank you so
yourself.
much. Thank you. Thank you. You never
Bye-bye.
stop talking about VODAN Africa all the time. And he doesn't stop showcasing VODAN Africa as the first and the only successful implementation of data visiting in the context of COVID-19. And this is from Africa. We really are grateful to you for your support. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
I'm proud to announce that we have successfully installed in Nigeria, Uganda, and Kenya, and of course in Leiden, with VODAN. And the installations in Zimbabwe and Ethiopia are still currently ongoing. So in the light of this, I would like to call on the team to speak to the installation. Oluwole and Ezra, Mariam and Aliyah, they have been so wonderful in this, while Oluwole and Ezra have been connecting the back and the front end. Miriam has been busy running the queries. So let us see the results of the efforts of these very hardworking Africans who have done something so new. It is so new because we have CEDA, owned by Stanford, as a fair data production platform, but not originally suited for our purpose. But these young Africans have come together, and then they have retooled CEDA with the support of the team at Stanford led by John, and then our data stewards. Now we have a data production tool that works for Africa, which we shall be implementing in 84 health facilities, including rural areas across the different regions of Africa. This is exciting. We'd like to see one of the successful implementations as will be demonstrated by Oluwole, Ezra, Miriam, and Aliyah in Uganda. Oluwole, please.
Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be talking on the progress we have made so far. It's really a pleasure. First of all, I would love to appreciate Professor Miriam, Professor Francisca, all the team members we have worked with. It's been really hectic, getting this far. It hasn't been easy at all. We've had sleepless nights, we've had to call John, send mails, having to crack different issues at every point. It hasn't been easy, but we really appreciate the effort of everyone that have participated in the whole project. Yeah, Miriam, Putu, Aliyah, others, Rudwan, Rudwan, my great researcher. Yeah, it's really fun working with him though. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody. I don't know if the Nigerian team are ready to present the local instance they've installed. I don't know if any one of them is here. Umar, is Umar on the call?
Umar will be joining late. He's just finishing a doctor's appointment, so we can move to Kenya.
Okay. What about Kimri?
Yes, Kimri in Kenya. I'm trying to find Seth. Seth is here, yes. Hi, Seth.
Okay. While we're waiting for him, Ezra, I think Ezra is on the call. Okay, Ezra, I don't know if you would want to present the local CEDA instance we have in Uganda.
Thank you, Oluwole. My name is Ezra. It's coming to 4:30 here in Kampala. Good evening to everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy for the challenges that I got. I'm happy for the tasks that I got. They really got the best out in me. Everything has been said. We have a local instance running in Uganda, and I'm currently able to connect to it through remote desktop. I'll just share my screen, and yeah, it's right here. So this is an instance of CEDA running on Ubuntu 20, and it's running right here in Uganda. You can see all services are running. I'll get the annotation so that I can point to a few things. Olu, is everything being seen? I don't want to present to myself.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just get my annotation just straight away, just shortly. Okay, it seems not to come through. So this is a local instance of CEDA. We have imported a couple of instances from to be able to save some time. We imported instances from the Stanford instance, we imported metadata from the Stanford instance, and we have them locally here just to test drive the dashboard that we got. But before I go into that, I don't know if I'm allowed to continue my presentation. I prepared a pictorial representation of everything, of how we have been able to pull this off. We shall start from the bottom. Kindly give me some time. I want to be able to get the annotation so that we can see where I point, and it seems to be missing from the pen at the top. I don't know if it's just me.
We see the internal and the external dashboard, Oluwola. I can see it. I see
your
it.
screen as well.
I wanted a pointer. I wanted just to, so that
we can see the pointer. Yeah, we can
see the pointer.
Okay, fine. So at the bottom of this is a local instance here in Uganda. We have around 42 metadata instances. I'll keep using the words interchangeably. I hope we shall all keep up with that. So this is a local instance of CEDA in Uganda. We are reading the instances through JSON, that is JavaScript object notation, and it doesn't look so pretty. It looks something like this for those of us who are not technical. This is just an example of one of the template instances. These would be the values. So basically we have to dig through these and then make it human readable, clean it up, and then store it for analysis. So we've been able to achieve that by fetching the data through a REST API from CEDA, and that is achieved through a scheduled cron job. A cron job simply is something that is set to do something after a specified period of time. So it's to the team here to agree that the internal dashboard should be updated every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes. So maybe I've skipped something before I got here. We could ask ourselves, how is it going to get into CEDA in the local installation? So my idea is that maybe we shall make one of the templates as open view, because CEDA has that functionality where you can make a template open view, and people have access to it through. It looks more like a web form. If you give access to people, a couple of people, they can fill in and populate it without necessarily logging into CEDA. So I would like to thank Mariam for that, because she showed me around. She really did a lot of work, especially I remember we had a hiccup with the APIs, because the documentation for CEDA, I mean, it's in some way or another, it's not lacking, but it's for the lack of a better word, at a point it's confusing, I should say, or it doesn't add up, because they tell you pass this as a parameter, then it doesn't work, then you don't have access, and you don't have this. But when we looked through what Mariam did, it actually helped us to break the Pandora's box, that we had failed to do. and everything just came out as we had wanted it. So thanks to Mariam, Basaja, it was really good working with you, and all that we have achieved, possibly you've been the start of it. So we fetch data from SIDA through a JSON API, an application programming interface. It comes in built with SIDA, and that is, we schedule a cron job. The cron job is the one that invokes the JSON API so that it pulls the new entries that could have been put in SIDA at the local facility. So we get out, it's more like looking for a needle in a haystack. We pick out the fields from the not so much pretty data that I previously showed you, and we pick out the fields of interest, the field names, and we store them in a relational database, that is SQL database. And on top of a SQL database, we are able to perform structured queries, and you are able to get the responses that back the data, the clean data, as an array, and then we can pin it onto the dashboard. So the same thing is for the external dashboard, only that here we are limiting the number of what you can see between the two dashboards. But the external dashboard mainly is going to aggregate what comes from all the health facilities across different countries. So we can only get the detail of this external dashboard after successfully piloting the internal in every country. If we can all say, yes, it works here, the internal works here, internal works there, just like the case for Uganda, then we can move on, which is actually expected without any major challenges. I expect, of course, a couple of challenges, but come on, there is Oluwole at hand to sort out these things. So this is like the pictorial or high-level view of the dashboard or of the whole setup before we go into the actual dashboard. We were able to build the dashboard using a PHP framework, that is Laravel, and there were a couple of reasons why we chose that. Of course, one, it's for the simplicity, the easy to upgrade, maintenance, all the things that come with that. It's easy to work with third-party plugins in case we want to maybe export reports for one reason or the other, if we want to send data in a PDF file or in an Excel file or in whatever format. I mean, Laravel makes it easier than many of the frameworks that are on the market right now. So for now, I would want to jump into the dashboard presentation. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, or Oluwole has something to add on to this before we move ahead. Olu, or anyone else that has a question at this juncture before we move on to the next phase of the presentation.
I think you can go ahead with the live demo of the dashboard. I think this is very clear.
Okay. So, just add, okay. Oh, maybe before I go, these are some of the instances that we actually have. There are about 42 of them, and we can actually read the data. Now, we don't read it directly in SIDA, but we read it from the relational database that is actually updated by the RESTful API through the cron job that we created. So we created a service that the cron job invokes. So this service can be invoked manually, but of course, we're not going to be there to do it every now and then. So we can simply run it as a cron, and it is invoked at a suitable interval, which I'll actually agree upon. So we have created access control to the dashboard, and this will be supplied in a way that we shall deem appropriate at the health facilities. And mine is that I will log in. So once I log in, the view looks like this. Okay, the view looks like this. Initially we had, I think, 3 queries of interest, and the first one was to be able to view the number of visits at a health facility per day, per week, per month. And I think the next was to be able to aggregate and pin on the dashboard the number of the frequency, not the number. I don't know if it means something, I stand to be corrected. The frequency of the diagnosis that has been made at a health facility, either daily, weekly, monthly, and overall. And maybe also the visits to a health facility per gender and things like these were kind of these were mostly the queries of interest that Professor Miriam shared with the team, and it's what we try to do. But before we go into that, this dashboard is going to be easy to work with because it has a wizard installer. That is the first time you actually run it. The requirements are pretty simple. You just need a web server. You just need a web server running on the local instance, which we actually did. We are running this on Apache and it's on the local host. So we're running Apache and it's on the local host. No extra, how should I call them? No extra requirements. If you have a simple web server, you can run the dashboard and then connect it to the local database. So you need to have this information at hand before you actually connect. You need the CEDA template ID, you need the URL, you need the API key, then you need, this is supposed to be, okay, so that we can fetch it. So you need these three parameters because the API key will grant you permission to be able to query the data from, actually the API key is passed on to the service that created and is able to query the data from CEDA into the relational database. Then you need to provide the URL. This is the local instance URL. This is key because this points to the exact point where CEDA is installed. So you need to make sure you have an X because CEDA works with an internal DNS kind of system, but it has its own internal domain name. So it always looks from within what we call the host file, then it knows that it's going to find the installation locally onto the machine. So once you have these three parameters, you can always update them. Even if you're to migrate a machine, or you just have to come and update this and then your dashboard will be up and running. So next we have access control. Security is key. Anybody, I don't know, when I say you, I don't know who I mean, but somebody has to be in charge of this at the facility. So someone has to decide who accesses what and what they do in the dashboard. So we have a couple of pages where you can grant access, where you can manage the parameters of the dashboard, where you can add users and all this. So you can actually, this installation has only 2 users, that is Oluwole and me. So you can easily do this without really breaking a sweat, and it comes in handy. So the other thing now left is to go back to the dashboard and look at the 3 queries. So this can be improved, this can be changed. We can add in, like I said, it's a modular dashboard. We can add in, we can take out, and we can improve it at any time. Maybe when we're out of time, but there's a lot that we can change here, only that some of the things have to be agreed upon before they are actually implemented. So at the top, we can view the number of visits today, the number of visits this week, the number of visits this month. Now, this may not total up to 41 because when I showed you, let me go back. These are 42. They're 40. Let me see. The listing here is 42 because it's actually also taking into account the template and not only the instance. So actually, we should expect 41, not 42. So the template is also counted as a directory listing. So, but an actual number of instances is 41. So this is the first query. It is deployed at the top where we can view visits per day, visits per week, visits this month, and maybe the total number of patients. And then we can go down to the second query that can show us the diagnosis, the frequency of diagnosis. And this is where we have unknown or undiagnosed. We were working with sample data and some of the fields after being queried were empty. So we thought something like, okay, what do we do if a template instance is fetched, but probably it has a null or empty diagnosis field? Of course, we decided to put this as a label that once the patient record comes in and they are undiagnosed and it's null and empty, let's say maybe it's unknown or undiagnosed. So we stand to be guided on this, but it shouldn't really be a big thing. The next we can see the diagnosis that has the diagnosis in the week, that is in the current running week, where we can see we have 4 patients of the 41 having malaria, 3 having hepatitis, 2 of them it's unknown, and 1 of them has TBC, which is also, I think, a sample entry. Then overall monthly and all this and all that. So it goes on and on and on until the overall, where you can see actually how many people have been diagnosed. Now this should actually add up to 41, because even if you have been diagnosed or undiagnosed, you appear in at least one of these categories. So then next we can see new patient visits. This is going to show us the new. Olwale, you might want to help me.
Okay.
This is going to help us with the new people who have come at the facility in a week, today, the current running week and the month. So currently we don't have a patient record or dates that we have that corresponds to today's date, meaning no one has come in, but at least we have 4 that fall within this week and 4 that fall within this month. Then the sample data, then, Olu, you are saying something?
No, just finish what you're saying. I'm just going to recap everything and add 1 or 2 things to it. Now,
this is supposed to be a line graph. I'm going to manipulate it manually so that we can see it in full action, because all of the data, because this is supposed to be a line graph that shows you the patient visits per month. This, at least every month, we should know probably how many patients visited the facility and all this, and maybe the gender composition in the running year. So this may not really add up to 41, because in the sample data that we have, some of the patients came in 2022, some came in 2019. So it may not work. It may not tally to this, but this is specifically for those that fall within 2021. So ideally, all the 31, this is 16 female and 15 female visitors came in December. So I'm just going to manipulate that. I will just probably say, I'll just manipulate that in the database so that, just a second, shouldn't be breaking. So the VODAN dashboard, this is the relational database where we actually keep the instances as we fetch them from CEDA. So most of them, the date of visits is the month of visit. You can see it's 12, that and that. There's somebody in May, but this is 2019, so it can't fall within this current year. So I'll just manipulate this record, possibly, let's say this person visited in Jan, and when we go back, we should be able to at least have a proper line graph drawn, that at least we have 1 patient coming in January and probably 30 coming in December this year. But of course, if we had patients coming in Feb, patients coming in March, and all this, we should be able to plot them on the line graph. Then this palette right here on the right shows the overall gender composition of the 41 patients, and that is 54 female patients and 54% female patients and 44% male patients. That's 18 to 22 respectively. Then we felt that there needs to be a window where you can see where you have a tabular view, or maybe we can decide to limit this to around either the first 50 or 100 patients, or the last 50 or 10 patients that came into the facility. So we're able to tell whether it's a new attendance or they are returning, and we've tried to obfuscate some of their names because we know it's sensitive information and all this. So this is currently what we have, but it's not really the end. I'm sure there are going to be new ideas, there are going to be new demands, there's going to be a lot of new stuff that is going to go through this template. I can sense that and I can feel it. So Oluwole, you might have something to add on, and maybe for the other feature, it's quite obvious. We expect people to be able to change their passwords easily and on the fly, and maybe finally to log out when they are done. So just to go back to to the pictorial representation. The external dashboard is going to be more like what we've seen in the internal dashboard, but it will be an aggregate of all the facilities that we have deployed in. Oluwole, if you have something to add, please, now is the time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Ezra. That's was a wonderful presentation. Okay, can you go back to the page, the dashboard page? Okay, yeah. In addition to everything you have said, so just as an improvement on what we have now, because this is what we have right now, but then before we have to bundle it to other locations, other facilities, we are trying to make it very extremely responsive, such that when you click on each of the diagnosis frequencies, the daily, weekly, monthly, and overall, all parameters, everything changes on the page, like the recent patients, the new patients per day, per week, per month, and overall, everything is going to be very dynamic. Then we're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone to be able to install. Just a click of a button, we have it ready in a couple of minutes. Yeah, so that's what we have done so far, and I think this is just the start. Yeah, then also I would like to say big appreciation to John. John has been quite helpful also. John is someone that when you give him a problem, it will take 2 hours to explain. So yeah, I'm sure going forward.
I hope he takes that as a compliment.
Yes. So I think going forward, we would need to engage him more, because we need several improvements we need to implement on the dashboard even before we extend it to the external dashboard. The external dashboard is just going to be an extension of this. This is what we have on the internal. Then for the external, I want to say you better wait to be wowed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, super. Thank you, Luole, Ezra, Miriam, Rudan. Thank you, John, for the support. Thank you, Professor Miriam. This is just super excellent. Thank you for demonstrating the implementation of the internal dashboard. This is super, super excellent, and we are so proud. One of the things we worried about at the beginning of this project, which our founders and supporters insisted on, was that Africa has to own this project. And I'm glad that today, with the support of our colleagues and then project members and members of our community from Europe, from America, and from Asia, we have been able to demonstrate that Africa actually has the capacity to do this. I congratulate every one of you, and I'm so super proud. I am proud to be leading this project. And today is one of the proudest moments. 2021 is ending on a very, very excellent note. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership, Vice Chancellor. We are so grateful to you, and Professor Miriam, you're always there. Thank you. Before I call in Seth and Umar for Kenya and Nigeria respectively, Oluwole, Seth, are you set? Do you have a good network now? And Umar?
Yes, I have.
Yes, please, thank you. Can you kindly show the Kenya installation? Let us see you have gone in Kenya. You can share your screen, Seth.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know whether you are watching. You're able to see my screen.
Yes, we are.
Yes, so this is the installation we did so far. We managed to install the operating system, the virtual box, and also the SIDA system. So you can see from the screen, the server is already started and it's running. All the parameters are running, except the 2. So we are still at the early stage of setup. We've managed to set up, and already we can run the server and also access the system through the browser. As you can see, when we load the system, is able to point to the database and access the web-based system, the SIDA. So up to this point is where we've reached. We are actually here with William. We are yet to set up the forms and to put the dummy data in them. So far, that's the point we've reached. I thank so much Oluwale because he's and Dr. Reginald because they've always supported and given feedback whenever I've asked for assistance when I was setting up. So actually we finished setting up today and we are yet to proceed to the next step. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That is so excellent. In Kenya, it's so wonderful. There are not too many of you. They're just about you and William in the technical team and Dr. Reginald, but you have done amazingly well for a team of two. Thank you very, very much. Umar, Zachary, would you like to show how far you have gone with your installation in Nigeria, IBBUL clinic? Okay, I guess, Umar, can I wait while you set up your system so that I can call VODAN? VODAN, thank you so much for the technical support here.
Yes, absolutely. It was a real pleasure.
All right, Umar is on now, so we'll just hold on. After Umar, then VODAN will take the floor. The complete installation for Nigeria.
I think we're not hearing Umar. I'm not hearing Umar. I think there's a problem with the voice, Umar. With the sound, I mean audio.
Yes, there's a problem with his audio because his mic is open, but he cannot.
Umar, otherwise you type and then Professor Francesca can read it.
Yeah, it could
Okay.
actually. Yeah.
Umar, I think Umar is on now, right?
No, this is
I thought I
Abdullah.
heard him speak.
It's Kawu.
Okay, yes, sir. Kawu, okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, good morning, everyone. And
Hi, Kawu.
yeah, so this is the Nigerian instance. As you can see, the services are also up. We are also at a similar stage to Kenya anyways. The services are now up. The two instances, the one in Mina and Lapai, are also at this stage, and you can see the user interface for the SIDA test data. Of course, after this stage, we're going to run some mock data as well as also see how that is visualized on the dashboard. So this is how far we've gone as a country, and congratulations to all.
Super, super, super. Thank you, Madam Kawu, Umar, Dr. Abdullah, Dr. Sakinat, and everyone on the Nigerian team. Thank you to everyone in IBBUL. Actually, IBBUL installed two, but then we have seen an instance from IBBUL. Thank you so, so much. Before I call you, Dr. Reginald, I want to invite Rudran to speak on the distributed ML analytics experiment. That was earlier presented this week at the last week at the Leiden Field Lab. Rudran.
Yes, absolutely. And we had a little project with groups of students, and it was really interesting that they also, in a really short time, we allowed them to learn about what VODAN is. and what the purpose is, and especially also about the context of VODAN. And what was really interesting here, that these students really in a short time, they also picked up really the importance of this project. If there's one moment I can also show these presentations that the students made. I will need to get them. I can get them in short notice. Let me check. Okay. Got 1 and 2. Yeah, so there were many different presentations, and these were the main ones that I was working on. I can show you the screen share. And I can show you also something about the work that we did and also the reasoning, why the way we structured the backend this way. And I think Wolle and Ezra have really been invaluable in this. Really, their work was really amazing in this short amount of time. So yeah, this is the work of students. They did 2 presentations, and this was really focused on that federated architecture. And first of all, I think one of the most important aspects is really the security and the privacy aspects. And here this group of students really looked at the concerns around authentication, security, but also how can we structure this in the future. And they made a really nice presentation, and I can just give some key points to you. So they really focused on the African context, like that the ownership, the local ownership is really the prime important part, because of course, as we all know, like the traditional way that research was done, that some researchers from abroad, they spend a lot of money, they get data, and then the local people and the local countries, they never see any benefit. And this really has to change. So these students really got to know about VODAN, and I really like that this is also more involvement coming from all kind of directions, as we see now as well. In this current group, we see really large variety of people. We have people with a sociology background, with technical backgrounds, from NGO. And I think this is also the strength of VODAN. So as you can see, the students also really did interviews with stakeholders. And from that, they really also started to see VODAN really as the collective, as a big collective as it is. So what these students propose is also this really networking based approach to the security profile. And I think this is also the prime example of VODAN, because the entire security is based on this tight network where people they have agreements with each other, and those agreements are quite strict often, but they also need to be dynamic. And of course, agreements can be really difficult to change. They can change in very rapid notice. And how do we implement that? So these students, they have really looked at a security method for a federated architecture, so that these contracts can be automatically made with each other, and they can also be withdrawn at will from one party, and they can also be established between 2 parties. And this is also what Ezra was also talking about, that the dashboard for multiple data points that we have, that we can draw kind of the information from them, but we never draw actual data from them. So these facilities, they give really the permission, what kind of information can you get? For example, how many patients do we house? How many visits did we get this week? Or for example, how many diagnoses of a certain diseases we have? And that's then aggregated in central service. Then you can see across the entire community, how many, for example, positive diagnoses of a certain disease are there. And then these different countries, they can in isolation look, for example, how is our status doing compared to the entire network? Or how is this situation something to be concerned about? And this is really the power, because there's never a single country that's singled out. It's really about the whole, about the collective. So there was another student group that was also federated learning, and this is really the application of the whole. So this is more my field, what I'm really learning on. And this focus is really on keeping that privacy aspect, but also being able to locally make computations. And from those computations, we can draw a model. And that model, we should be careful that there's no privacy sensitive information in that model, but it still can give some useful property. And I think one of the really nice things these students have also recognized, that if you have a really a white box model, for example, a decision tree or regression model, then of course it's really visible what's going on. So this might actually not be suitable in this case, while traditionally in healthcare, you would want these kind of models. So the students have also drawn from this that, for example, exactly in this case, something like a neural network might actually be more beneficial, even though you can't actually draw each of these different criteria out of it. Is very privacy oriented, exactly because of this reason. So they also did a few tests. For example, if you look at different aspects across kind of different instances, and you can see different instances as different countries or different hospitals. And we never actually get to see these differences between each hospital, but we can see what do we get from the whole. For example, if we train models at each of these hospitals and we aggregate it centrally, how can we make predictions from that? And the students also found that naturally, if you have all the data, your model is always going to be better. And this is simply a truth. This cannot be avoided, but we can get a model that's really close to the base truth. Here they found, for example, this model is roughly 5% less efficient. This is their training, of course. This can be much more optimized. But the interesting thing is that in the classical learning case, we have access to all the data. And in federated learning, we have access to none of the data. So even though we lose some performance, we gain so much back in privacy and security. And then also, ultimately, people will be more trusting to give this kind of federated access rather than full access, because federated access means that no one will be able to see your data. They can only train a model that you approve on that data. So in a way, we can actually improve kind of the amount of data that will be utilized at the end, while not actually exposing the privacy concerns. And ultimately, what we want to see that actually classical learning will lag behind, because there's so many restrictions, there's so many concerns. While federated learning, there will be more and more data that can be used on this. And what we want to see finally is that during this method, the accuracy will in reality be higher, because we can actually use more patient data. So let me share another screen with more of the technical details that also Ezra show you to give some background to that diagram. So this is just to show the classical way of federated learning. And this is really before, I think also before VODAN. This is how actually the current research also NVIDIA is doing, and at Intel. What they're doing right now in London is they have all these different hospitals, and they train a model in those hospitals, but they all bring it into the cloud. So the problem is that you're still centralizing all these different models to some place that you don't know. Most of the cloud is, for example, in the US. It can also be in Europe. But this is some location where you no longer have control over your models, over your data. There's always a risk of some privacy leak, and then you don't know who actually accessed the data, who actually know about the privacy leak. if you control all your data, you know, for example, if you made a mistake or some clinician, for example, accidentally exposed some data, you can trace back who saw that. You can keep control over it, and you can also fully inform people. With the cloud, you lose all that power. So this is, in my opinion, I think most of VODAN can share that this is not suitable for real data ownership. So with the VODAN pilot, we really started out with the containerized version of CEDAR that we engineered. This is based on some infrastructure services. It's all routed through a central service. And this is all connected, what we call an API. And this is really a code interface. And what our idea was to continue to use this containerized version, because for the locations, it's really easy to install. Usually they can just install software. It's called VirtualBox or VMware. And then you can just double click it. For VMware, there's a couple more steps needed. And then you can immediately get it running. What we've found that people can get it running within 1 hour. And traditionally, if you set up a server, you'll be looking at perhaps a couple of days of work if you really set it up from the ground up. So this makes it also a whole lot more flexible. And there's no configuration issues. There's no kind of troubleshooting needed usually, because we can pre-configure everything. So what we really have done this instance is also really bridge the gap between this containerized version and also connection to the internet. And this is what we call them right now. For my instance, is the VODAN.org instance, but we are looking to have many, many more instances. For example, in this example, we have, for example, 4 instances, and these connect to our central VODAN. And this is really the community hub. And there, these kind of federated analytics, they'll be gathered in VODAN.org, kind of the hub that's shared by everyone. And there they'll be able to access this aggregated data and also be able to link back to their own dashboard, because these dashboards, they will look similar and they'll be able to compare, for example, how's my private situation and how's the situation of everyone. And I think this is really the power of being a community. And this also shows kind of other clinics that are not yet in this community, kind of what advantages can this give me? Being part of this community, I'm also giving back my insights, and I also get new insights myself. And I think this kind of sharing mentality, while not actually giving away anything, I think this is also really becoming the future of kind of analytics and machine learning. And if we look further in the future, we can even imagine this, that people will be sharing, for example, federated analytics from their phone usage or other kind of uses like that, without actually exposing any private sensitive data. If we look at, for example, Facebook, etc., it's really these corporations usually they extract from people, and this is really something we want to jump over. We don't want to extract anymore. We want to give back to people and allow people to share without actually making themselves at risk for being predated by this kind of big companies. And I think this is really the power of VODAN.
Thank you, Hudwan. That is also a most excellent presentation. I think that really goes to the heart of the work that has been done here, which is truly, truly paradigmatic, as you explained it so well. Thank you very, very much. I'm keeping my eye a bit on the time. I have I'm taking over the chair from Professor Francesca so that she is continuing her journey, but she is there. Looking now towards the future. First of all, again, really thank you, everybody. And thank you for being here with so many to celebrate this achievement, which was so necessary for us to come together about, because I think we now all feel the confidence, not only that we had the idea and that we had the drive, but that we actually have found the tools in the big and the small elements of it to realize it. And I do agree with Ezra that there will be many, many iterations of this. This is just really the first time in which we have been able to show this can be done and this can be done in this way. And that shows an incredible alternative to the models that we have at present. And I think that is the pride that we all have here today. As we look into the future, I would like to say that all of the 23 articles for data intelligence have been sent on. They have all gone through the edit post the double-blind peer review. These are now sent as promised before Christmas to Feng Hong Liu, and hopefully then you will all find them in print as you arrive in 2022. And then we will have discussions on the second special issue in which we can report the experience of this second phase. We will then also be working for 2 more templates, the MCC, the Mother and Child Care, and the COVID one. They will be simple and small and focused on key data points, now that we also really understand what the use is in relation to the internal and the external dashboard, and they will be integrated then for the second pilot. We are a bit ahead of ourselves because for the first pilot, our aim was to install in Uganda, Kenya, and Nigeria. Already today, we have installed 2 in Nigeria, and I think Zimbabwe and Ethiopia are almost there. And of course, we also have done Leiden. So in the second pilot, our aim is to get to 8 facilities of installations, and then to pilot the integration of the back and front and internal and external dashboard, and also the data production within those facilities. And then we will prepare the container version, which will then be complete with all of the data that we need for the internal and external dashboard, which will then allow us to do the installation in the 84 health facilities. This will be possible, we know that already, because as the experience is now, the installation can be done in about an hour, and it's not that time intensive and also not so capacity intensive. So we know that this will be possible, and we will be doing this in February. So with that, we will then complete this cycle, and we are then going to work with all of our partners in all the work that can be done from there on. I have one question, and that is that the students of the field labs, they were very interested to have an exchange with VODAN in January, where they could also present some of their ideas. Is this something that we shall plan for January? And could also be interesting for us to show some of the work that they have done. With that, let me look at the chat. Hans says, congratulations, what an excellent work done by you all. These VODAN results show really a big team spirit, and I'm proud to be a moderate support part to this. Thank you, Han. And John says, Francesca and everyone, you have very nicely knitted together your work and your presentations. much credit to you all, and my personal thanks to Alia for being my guide to this project and its participants. And then Rudewan, yeah, that was a technical question. Also to thank the team of CEDAR, particularly Marcos and Alex, for all the support that they have given to all of the technical teams. With that, I am asking if there is anybody who would like the floor at this point. John, do you want to give a response having seen the results of today?
Sure. Thank you for the chance to say thanks to all of you. This has been the first at-scale adaptation of CEDAR, and it's been really fun, first of all, to meet you all and be a chance to be a part of your project. Miriam, thank you very much for engaging us and bringing us into the fold. It's been great. And I just have been so impressed by the ability of everyone to cope with my 2-hour responses to questions, and with the different kinds of challenges you get when you are, as we say, half a world away from people you're trying to collaborate with. And I know that 99% of the time we're not readily available when it's 3 in the morning. So thank you all for your patience and with the time changes and your diligence in figuring out all the things that you've had to figure out. And I really hope that this gets to continue growing into what it looks like it can become. It's a very exciting opportunity. Very nice.
Thank you so much for that, John. And Han and I were in a meeting looking at the future of where we now are. And I think that there are 3 big windows of opportunity here, which are now really within reach. The first window is the capacity. And again, I'm so proud to announce that the online course by Francesca and Alia has been approved today on the production of fair data through CEDAR. This is something that this network now has and holds, and it's something with which we will work in the future. The second window is the innovation. It was marvelous to hear Francesca speak about all of the images that once Umar now had installed, these as he showed today, in Niger State, where you also have all of the challenges with Boko Haram and so on. To imagine that you can have this ownership of the data and everything that is possible in terms of services, because the way we now hold this data is just something that is only really the beginning of innovation. So that we can innovate, we know. We reworked CEDAR. We needed your help, John, but together we know that the innovation capacity to build on what CEDAR has offered us is really, really big, and that's an incredible potential for the future. And the third is why we did all of this, is the quality of care. We started with the outbreak of the pandemic. Our objective was to really show that in order to give a halt to this pandemic, we do need data from everywhere, and Omicron has only proven this. And so the realization that in order to share, you need to hold something, I think that is something that we have shown that is a critical issue for the realization that if you want to share data, if you want to have data, it needs to give back to the quality of care where this data is produced. And this is what we will do, this is what we should do. And this should really be our biggest pride, if one day we can say that that we have inspired the way forward on that. And I'm really, really pleased that Seth today from the incredible organization that KEMRI represents, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, that it was here today to show to us that they installed this VODAN Africa iteration. Before I then close, I would like to ask Dr. Reginald if he wants to give some final words from the country coordinators. Dr. Reginald, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor. I think a lot has been said. On behalf of the country coordinators, is to congratulate the countries that have installed, and we encourage more countries to install. And then we start the new year on a new page and continue working on this project for its fruitful success. So thank you, everybody, and everybody who has been on call today. Thank you for supporting VODAN Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reginald. And then let's maybe, if I may ask, that everybody tries for one moment to open up the video so that we can make our VODAN Christmas picture. Oh, so nice to see everybody. So let me do this on the one screen. I need to do it on two screens. Seth, can you also put yours on? Rudwan? No, Rudwan is, I think, in the university. Okay, so happy Christmas, everyone. And then I go to my next screen. Oh, now I see Francesca there too. So I think I can go like this. Yeah, one time more. Francesca, can you put yours on? Okay, let's go. And don't forget to smile. Jamal, smile, eh? This thing is nice. Great. I hope I've got everybody. So with that, let me hand over to VC if you can open up. On my side and on behalf of Professor Francesca, thank you, everyone. Guys, Aliyah, you've been so incredibly consistent week after week after week, leading us through here, both on Monday and on Tuesday and on Friday, giving us the training, creating the data stewards that we have today, integrating the architecture. You and also Oljas, really big thank you to you. Putu, you too, I want to really thank you for your consistency and for really keeping everybody on their toes with all of the detail that was there. And Mariam, this dream started one day with you. I think you were the first to see this project and to make it into your PhD. I know you have worked incredibly hard with all of the guys and how much that has been appreciated in these last weeks. Really, thank you. And we hope that next year, 1 year from now, we can celebrate your defense on this big achievement here today. Congratulations to you, Mariam. And with that, I can't mention everybody, but everybody I'm seeing here on the screen, my heart is with all of you. It's so wonderful to meet all of you every week, at least, sometimes multiple times a week. I wish you all really good festive days with your friends, with your families. If you don't speak each other before New Year, please celebrate Good New Year. And one time more, I want to say, Francesca, thank you for bringing all of this together at the level of detail that it requires, and with the inspiration that you have given everyone. And with that, I will now hand over to VC, if I can, to close the session. I think VC has just stopped. So Mariam, do you want, is VC there? So many people. Mariam, do you want to close then on behalf of KIU?
Yes. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank everyone, everyone that has attended the session today. I'd like to thank the technical team. Well, Professor Brian is off the call now, but we appreciate the fact that he was able to attend the final meeting for the year. And I'd like to thank the whole technical team, Oluwale, Ezra, Ridwan. It's been really great working with you the past few days. Putu, Aliyah, basically everyone on the technical team. I'd really love to take this moment to appreciate your work, your support. Would not have done this without any of you guys. And also I'd like to finally thank everyone that has created time to attend the meeting. And with that said, I'll close the meeting and have a lovely day or evening, and Happy New Year.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a nice holiday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good
Bye.
holidays.
See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, compliment the student. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Happy New Year in advance.
Obina, good to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ibrahim.
Bye. Happy New Year to all of you.
Bye. Bye, Seth.
Bye. Happy New Year.